Is this thing on?
That was absolutely shocking because I made a face and I realized how bad my eye bags were when I made that. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. It's
Mine
been
look
a
like
long
bruises.
week.
Nothing I do gets rid of them either. Jeffrey actually gave me some cream, but I haven't used it yet. But I use those eye patches.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the under eye things.
Yeah.
And I leave them in the fridge so like, they're nice and cold when I put them on in the morning. Like, it feels so nice. But
mine gets so bad. One day, one of the managers at work said, "Do you need to go home? What happened to your eye?"
Oh my
Like,
Oh, no.
fuck off, you tiny little bitch.
Right?
Vera got red. Red to filth.
So
That's bad though, because it's just like all it is just no sleep, and it just makes
it's
you terrible. And you're like,
well,
okay, I'm
also,
sorry.
I have an underactive thyroid, and when my thyroid gets out of whack, my eye swells. It's, it's not the thyroid eye disease that they talk about, but it is part of my thyroid condition, and it happens like 4 or 5 times a year, and it's like. You wouldn't walk up to somebody with a scar and talk about it. Why do you feel it's okay to say that to somebody, Do you need to go home? Yeah.
What's wrong with your horrible, horrible face?
You're disfigured.
It's not okay. I mean, like, I think, I have a lot of people my age now, I am in the middle age group now. Oh, how horrible. But like,
I got an invitation to join AARP.
It's happening.
A lot of people that I went to high school with, I'm like, what? Especially the girls are like, why are you doing that to your face? Why are you doing that to your face? You were so pretty. And then I look at some people and go, oh, you should have done something. And now I just want this. Just like,
I want this. I want this to go, like this.
I need all this to go.
I got their little vagina neck thing going on that the president has.
Just grow a beard, Vera. Become a bearded lady. It hides a multitude of sins. It's all good.
Let the chin hairs grow out. Don't pluck them in.
There's not enough to hide the vagina neck, and it looks bad.
And then let it connect up to your hairline.
4 of them.
Look glorious. You look like a glorious, glorious Viking biker, and it'll be amazing. And just condition the shit out of it. You can just be like, Pantene, living the dream. It's just so. We're feeling real sexy this week in Cast You Can't Tell. Wow. It's been that kind of week.
That's strictly your side of the pond. I am not feeling sexy.
I'm not feeling sexy either. Just hanging in there and hanging on. How's your week been, Christina?
The regular dumpster fire that it normally is.
Your mom must have come back from vacation, right?
No, not yet.
No? Wow. You made good at girls' weekend and your mom's still gone?
Yes. Oh my God, I know, right? How lucky was I? I had said to my husband, I said, listen, I'm going to go up see Jeffrey. And he said, okay. So he handled the kids, for the 2 nights that I was gone. And everything went fine. Yeah, I just like, hello.
I know. I waved to you when Christina was the only face on. Sorry, Joe.
I just like to laugh, and I like to, just hang out and do nothing, and I have to be pulled out by 100 to mom.
Right.
So it was nice to just break away for a day or two, and I mean, my parents are back on the 5th, so in another
a week. About a week.
Yeah, another week.
White knuckle it all the way.
And then I was actually off of work this week, and I'm back to work next week. So it's the last work week with them gone, and it's just going to be back to the stress. I've actually been able to sleep this week. I do feel better, but I'm not looking forward to going back to work and dealing with that stress while they're still gone. I should have taken another week off, but what are you going to do?
You live, you learn, right?
I know, right?
You live, you learn. Vera, how have you been?
It's another week here in paradise. What's going on? My whole family's been sick. They had this weird stomach flu. I'd get up and I'd go to work and it's like, why is Dia's car still here? And I'd come home for lunch. It's like, why is Dia's car still here?
Oh no.
Yeah.
We've got to do the Gene Hackman check-in. We're going to call it from now on.
Well,
Sure,
Dia's my person. Dia's the person that I know I would never be found dead in a cubicle for a weekend, because if she didn't hear from me, she'd start calling out the militia.
Yeah.
So I gotta kind of
invade next door, please. My sister has been unseen.
My sister's not answering her door.
I don't know where she is. She's just not here. That's all.
She could be dead.
You know she'd come look at.
She could be dead.
you know she'd come looking for wine before that. So
I don't keep the wine here. She's got the wine on her side.
Well, she's always
even if I buy wine to have at my side, she takes it over to her house.
That's what I mean. She's like, why go shopping when you can go next door, right?
Vera doesn't need this. I'll get it. I'll take it to my house.
Sharing is caring.
How was your weekend, Stevie, or your week?
My week has been hectic. It's doing weird winter, end of summer, fall kind of. It's hot as a crutch one day, and then all of a sudden at nighttime it's freezing, and you're like, what's happening? Why is my life like this? And apparently we're about to get a month's worth of rain in a week or something. So we're kind of heading into the winter season while you guys are still clinging to your dead bodies, trying to keep you cold.
Well, we had some warmth earlier in the week, last week, but not this week.
It's supposed to be 50s too, over here at least.
Oh no, we had dipped down into the 20s at night the last couple. Yeah. Below zero for you Celsius people.
Global warming's not a thing, so it's all right. We're all imagining it.
Climate is different than weather.
It's always been like this. I don't know what anyone's complaining about. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't see a difference. Fine. We went from 160 inches in central New York of snow per winter to 60. It's fine.
That's okay. With that sentiment, we're going to jump straight into this week.
Hot load of hot topics.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I just had a low signal. They know it's coming.
Oh no!
They know I'm going to talk about it, don't they? It's all right because I'm not using Signal. I don't know where to begin. But I will begin because
don't know either.
Show. Well, look, we are in a world that sometimes resembles a really bad Saturday Night Live sketch. And this is kind of what happened this week when it was revealed that the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg, was added to a group chat, a top secret group chat regarding war plans for the
attack plans. Government. It wasn't war plans.
Well, they're being labeled war plans by the media.
The Trump administration is saying they are not war plans. They are attack plans.
Oh, okay. Let's get into the semantics of it because that's what really matters. Not the fact that this is happening on Signal, which is a platform that Russia has already hacked. They already know. They're already accessing Signal regularly. one of these,
And
one
not
of the
to mention-
recipients was in Russia
Yes, but
while this was happening.
2 weeks ago, Pete Hegseth himself sent out a memo saying, please don't use Signal. It is not a safe means of communication. And then
I know.
he said, and then he starts the group chat.
I know that we're in a very wicked obsessed culture at the moment. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, etc., etc. But come on, people. This is beyond a joke. Do you feel safe?
I'm not sure of what they said.
What's that?
Do you feel safe?
What did the messages
what
say?
was the content of the message? So it was
well, the
about planned airstrikes in Yemen. So
the completely unredacted memo that at first the administration kept saying that didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. Then they kept saying, oh, it did happen, but no specifics were mentioned. There was no breach of what's the word? Security. And then they're saying nobody talked about specifics. It was just nebulous talk. And so then they started saying that Jeff Goldberg made up the whole damn thing, that he added himself to the group chat, that nobody knows how he got in there. He must have been added by magic. And then finally, to protect himself, to say, hey, I didn't do it, but this is what it said. He slowly but surely leaked all of the group chat, including times of bombings, locations of bombings, and all the equipment that was going to be used for the bombings. Who was the target? Exactly how they felt about the bombings. Several people were against the bombing. Several people felt that the president was making a huge mistake, that this was an error. There was a lot of chat in this, and now it's all out, but you can't convince them that it happened. And then the first thing anybody says, but her emails.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And this was after they were told not to use this chat platform.
Yes, after Pete Hegseth himself said, don't use this chat platform.
After he said, and
they were
this
talking about attacking Yemen?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's this?
I don't know why we're attacking Yemen. I don't have a fucking clue what the president's rationale is. It certainly never went before Congress. I don't know why, but that's what they did. They commenced bombing.
Are there any people saying that this could potentially just be a fake, an AI conversation that was generated or something?
No,
it isn't.
Nobody's saying that.
No, nobody's saying. So the people in this group chat, obviously, my oh my god, I can't speak today. I'm having a small stroke. Jeffrey Goldberg, the Atlantic publisher, JD Vance, Vice President JD Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, just to name a few.
Oh, they were all there.
People, just
I'm just thinking 2025, and then they were told not to use
this isn't a what if situation. That's the problem.
Well,
why would they let that leak about that? And why would we be attacking Yemen? And all of a sudden,
ostensibly, the reason the president gave for an attack in Yemen is that the Houthi rebels in Yemen were assisting Hamas. It was.
And why is this done in a text message?
That's what I'd like to know, because there's national protocols that need to go through secure channels. Every single member of that group chat, except for Mr. Goldberg, has their own private skiff room in their home so that they can access secure information in the privacy of their home and at their own convenience. And every single one of them has dedicated phones that have been provided through the National Security Council, or not the National Security Council, the Department of Security. They follow protocols, and every single one of them did not follow protocols, walked into this group chat, And not a one of them seemed to notice that there was a number on there that wasn't one of them.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I'm sorry, like, wouldn't somebody in a position of power go, this is probably not the right thing to do? Like,
That's what I'm
You would
saying. I'm
think.
thinking this isn't right. Like something about this just doesn't seem right.
I just think they are.
It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. This is the party that has not yet stopped screaming about Hillary's emails.
And you're just having a chat. Like, it's the equivalent of Messenger. It's like just going, oh, well, da 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 da.
It's as secure as the UCR war room.
Yeah. Right?
Right. No, yeah, I get it. Yeah. I don't know how real it is. I feel like it's not
real. It's real. It's been confirmed. They finally agreed. It's been confirmed. It's not AI. It's not a fucking hoax. It's fucking for real. These fucking idiots did it. And now they're all like, it's no big deal. We didn't do anything wrong. We just had a talk. We are allowed to talk. Nothing happened wrong. They all admit it happened, but now they're saying nothing wrong happened.
Except it's international security for the leaders of the, well, not anymore. The leaders of the free world.
We are not the leaders of the free world. The free world has dumped us.
Yeah. Well, former. Like when Prince wasn't Prince anymore, you know. Just symbol.
Yeah. No.
Whatever. I'm worried about what kind of symbol, but you know, that's okay.
It was probably the fist bump, American flag, fire emoji.
Yeah, the emojis. The fact that they're using emojis in a chat about military strikes.
I know.
Like, that's terrible. It's like a parody. It's like a parody movie. It's like hashtag how you feeling. Hashtag might do an airstrike, felt sexy. Might take it down later.
It's kind of like watching Freaky Friday when Lindsay Lohan has to go into the board meeting. You know?
Just no idea what's happening.
I don't know. I'm sorry. It's beyond ridiculous.
it sounds ridiculous.
It's incompetent. It's gravely incompetent.
I don't know how secure I would feel if these are the people that are running my country.
I know.
And looking after your safety and making sure that, you know, like we're so worried about TikTok.
I know.
What?
TikTok's evil. TikTok's going to destroy our security.
TikTok's going to give away your national secrets. Oh no, just jump on Signal. It's okay.
But
it's all right.
Elon Musk has all of our social security data, all of our HIPAA information, and nobody's worried about that.
I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but my TikTok algorithm has done a big swing about coming back into the country if you've been out of America.
Yes.
And people having their phones and stuff taken from them, plugged into these machines that are doing something to their phones, whether it's extracting information or, you know,
here in our country or there in your country?
Your country, coming back into your country. So, and then people being detained at the border until they can verify
anybody
X, Y, and Z.
Yes. There are travel guidelines that people are putting up on TikTok that if you are leaving the country, leave your laptop, leave your phone, leave everything in country, because if you come back into the country, border security will take your phone, scan through all of your phone to make sure there's no anti-Trump messaging in there. And people are being detained and put in jail cells and held for hours while their phones are being. Yes, I have seen that on TikTok.
Jesus.
And again, the validity of TikTok we can question, like, you know, we can definitely question. But the fact that it's happening at all is a bit of a breach of freedoms and stuff like that.
There's a whole
they're getting you at the border. when you're not technically on American soil. You are still.
There was a legal immigrant coming to this country on the HB1 visa, the Genius visa that helps in coming to work in technical field, been planned for years. He's coming back to this country again, having been here before, and he was detained at the border, arrested, held in custody, and then kicked out of the country. There was a British student who was traveling in this country with a friend who brought her tattoo kit, and she was detained for 3 weeks because they insisted she was illegally in the country with her means of business. Even though she says she brought it so she could learn tattoo techniques from American tattoo artists. Yeah, this shit's going down all over the place. There was
the double standard is hilarious, though. They're like, we're so worried about the information that you might be giving to other countries, but we'll discuss our military action on an unsecured platform.
Right.
Nope. And then, I don't know if you guys, maybe you did, maybe you haven't. Marjorie Taylor Greene is very lucky that she decided to insult a British journalist, because I don't think that if she came at someone from Australia with that
she was awful.
That she would have left standing up.
She's always attacking British journalists.
She's a vile thing. The way that she speaks to people, the attack, the venom, it's disgusting. And the fact that she has the gall to call anyone uneducated is hilarious to me. Meanwhile, you've got Lauren not knowing what the meaning of Washington D.C. is.
Right. I know.
These are the people. These are the shining stars.
These are the same people who say that we aren't a democracy, we're a republic, and have no idea that a republic is a democracy.
It's the
same people. You know?
That's why we need to go back to teaching civics in high school, perhaps.
I agree. My favorite what the fuck moment for this week was when President Trump announced that he'd be willing to rejoin the Commonwealth if King George would have us.
Loved it.
I was like, are you kidding me?
I think it's a bit too late to re-crawl up that womb.
Well, cancel the 4th of July.
Those legs are shut. You don't want him on your money anyway.
We fought a revolution about this.
I don't want him. Yeah, I don't want him on my money, and it's going to happen. But you just don't want that face staring at you. It's like, terrifying. Oh, we jumped the gun. We didn't talk about the death. Normally we do death first,
shit! We forgot to start with death.
Too ridiculous to ignore. But R.I.P. George Foreman. Oh.
I really liked his grill.
I know. Who hasn't had George Foreman?
I think
we've had 3. I'm pretty sure.
I've had 2.
I still have the fucking thing. I
used it the other day.
At least
knock out the fat.
Well, now I have my air fryer. I don't use my George Foreman like I used to.
When I was in the
you grill.
Easy way to grill. Yeah, it was a really easy way to grill the chicken. Joe would always throw the chicken on it.
You're not going to put a burger in an air fryer.
You can. It just isn't going to taste the same.
Not right. You got to have those George Foreman grill marks. But the shitty thing about it is when you've had it for too long and the non-stick is not non-stick.
Oh, the non-stick is non-stick, and that flakes off in your food.
Yeah,
it's kind of gross. Then you got to get the new George Foreman.
And then you got to turn it back on so it softens everything and get your glass of water and it steams up. You're like, give yourself a 3rd-degree steam burn trying to get like the chicken marinade off the George Foreman just so you don't get salmonella next time you use the George Foreman.
What's a little salmonella?
Quick. Because if you don't, then it all solidifies it. It freaks you the fuck out. It was so gross. I mean, the whole thing.
And you don't. The worst thing is when you don't put the tray on properly.
Yeah, I was just going to say you forget to put the drip tray under, and all of a sudden your counter's covered in burger juice.
You're like, you think
And
you've
mind
done
you,
the right thing?
I was in this tiny little basement apartment before we moved into this tiny little house. And it was the fridge, and then right after the fridge, it was just the sink. It was just a sink. We had this much counter space for our dry dishes, and then there was a support wall, and then there was like, a countertop underneath the cabinet. So again, just the amount of space for cabinet and countertop that was tucked into the corner where the 24-inch stove was. So it was like a 24-inch stove just blocking the counter. So you had like this much space between the stove and the counter. So I would have to go in sideways. And if I ever wanted to cook, I would have to do that, or I would have to put the cutting board on the table. And we would use the George Foreman grill on the kitchen table. I mean, it was just...
Tiny.
But then they released that. Did you see those fancy ones they put out, which was half a grill and half a hot plate? That was fancy.
Yes, that was fancy.
Like the steamer on top, like it'll steam your buns for you.
Yeah.
I didn't have that one.
Don't threaten me with a good time, George Foreman. Steam
Right?
my buns. Ooh, don't threaten me with a good time. Well, this steams my buns. Okay. Yep,
hopefully he's making burgers in heaven.
He's knocking out the fat. Doing it. He's doing it.
I forgot that part.
This steams my buns, and I hope I'm not the only one outraged, but I think you will be because of, A, Vera, what you do, and B, the fact, Christina, you have children. The parents of the child, let's go back. Child, 6 years old was she, I believe?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That died of measles, complications from measles, have said they stand by their defense. They stand by the fact that this child was not immunized, would not be immunized. They think it's, they think they've done the right thing. They are even now speaking out online to anti-vaccine organization Children's Health Defense, saying the mother says she would still not do the shots. They're not as bad as that. Measles are not as bad as the media are making them out to be, except for the fact that your fucking child's dead.
Yeah. And like all the other ones got measles too, they said, but they survived.
Oh, but they're fine.
They're fine.
It builds up your immune system. It's okay. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, I also happening in this measles epidemic in these 17 states is the fact that our director of health and human services, Mr. Kennedy, has endorsed the use of vitamin A instead of vaccines. And children are coming down with vitamin A toxicity and complications from vitamin A toxicity.
Because your dumb fucking parents don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's why. Because
they're listening to people who don't know what they're doing.
And they're listening to people who don't know what they're doing. Exactly.
Why would you give a child a supplement without speaking with their doctor, number one? Number two, do some motherfucking research. Like, because my son's autistic, and I see all these things all goddamn day about a vitamin that, it'll make him shit out these toxic metals or whatever the fuck that's in his intestines. And it's like, oh, if I'm dumb, like, would I buy that and just try it out? Like, it's just one of those things, like, let's just try it out. Like, and I want to, but I'm not going to do it until I do all my fucking research and I talk with this pediatrician and I understand what the side effects, what could happen. I'm not a dumb fuck. But when it comes to a vaccine that's going to prevent my kid from dying if they contract this disease, there's no motherfucking question. Yes, inject. Like, I was injected. I'm fine. Were they fucking vaccinated? Those dumb fuck parents who let their kid fucking die? Like,
I'll read a little bit more because it's telling. So they're Mennonite. Obviously, it's against their religion. They
it's not completely. There are Mennonites that get vaccinated all the time.
Yeah,
I've worked a bunch of vaccine clinics and vaccinated Mennonite children.
yeah, some people are, you know how like some people like on how like Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, how they're Mormon light and some of them are Mormon heavy. It's just like, I don't know how heavy I'm going to take my religion. So this is what the mother said. This is what the mother said. We would absolutely not take the MMR vaccination, which, you know, everyone gets in school, so you know they must be homeschooled or something. The measles wasn't that bad; they got over it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they treated their surviving children with castor oil and inhaled steroids. So they're obviously not that against modern medicine. And this is the thing that shits me, right? All you crunchy munchy like do-gooding anti-vaxxers want to tell everyone how to run their life and that they're poisoning their children and they're doing irrevocable damage, then you know what? Next time that you and your family need medical attention, don't go to a doctor because you can't criticize the system that you then need help from.
Right.
That's not how society works. You have to actually take part in the society. It's like voting. You can't criticize the people in power if you didn't play a part in the process. So it just shits me to tears that it's always someone else's fault when something like this happens. It is a 6-year-old child that you allowed to be that sick that she died. It's ridiculous.
Well, they knew she was sick. They did take her to the hospital.
I know, but too late, obviously.
Yeah.
And you know, if they didn't believe in the vaccines and the medications, then why are you taking her to the hospital? You should just take her out by the river and rub a twig on her forehead until the moon shines.
Right?
You fucking retard. Like, come on.
I understand.
I just can't believe in this day and age that we are seeing the return of stuff like measles. Like we're all going to get scurvy and then
polio. Polio
dropsy.
was completely eradicated on this continent. It's making a comeback. Polio that killed people, crippled people, left children in the iron lung. Yeah. It's making a comeback because, I don't want my child to have the polio vaccine.
But surely the Department of Children's Services should be going to see these parents because
our head of Health and Human Services doesn't believe in vaccines either. It's Mr. Kennedy.
They're much more into vaccines, not just because of that guy. It's because
they are intransient anti-vaxxers. Before he was, but nobody's going to force them because this is the land of the free.
Which is ridiculous.
Oh no, they were forced in the past.
How are they not mandatory?
They were mandatory. Yes, they were. You could not enroll your child in public school when I was in school if they were not fully vaccinated. If you came from another school district, you had to have proof of vaccination, and every single school-age kid was lined up in the cafeteria, given the shot in the arm, given the sugar cube, and then given some stupid thing we had to stick under our tongue once a year.
Right.
It was mandatory.
When did that stop?
It stopped in the late 80s because we'd eradicated these diseases. Why are we still injecting our children with these vaccines when these diseases are gone? So they stopped making it mandatory. But it was mandatory for years. As a matter of fact, my brother-in-law, who's 13 years older than my sister, one of his best friends was the last person in this county to actually have polio, and he spent his entire life in a wheelchair because of the polio.
Oh my God.
That's crazy. I can't believe that in this modern day, you know, obviously you would never get away with mandatory vaccinations ever again. It's not going to happen. But at least, like, especially with the veracity of the flus that are going around and everything, why wouldn't you offer flu shots and stuff like that at school so that if kids are going to get sick, they're going to get sick at school. They bring it home. Everyone gets sick. It's the way it happens. It's been happening for generations upon generations. Like, why would you not do that? I don't understand. Maybe that's a universal healthcare question, but I don't understand.
Somewhere along the way in our path, and I don't, this could just be America and exceptionalism that came about in the 80s. Maybe it's international. I don't really know. But somewhere along the way, we stopped being a community-minded country where you did things for the greater good, where you may not want a shot in the arm. Nobody wants a shot in the arm. It sucks to get a shot in the arm, but if it keeps everybody in your community safe, we'll all get the shot in the arm. Now it's like, I don't want a shot in my arm. We've lost that community mentality. You know, Elon Musk is jumping around saying billionaires shouldn't have to pay for your schools. When for hundreds of years, the rich paid for libraries and hospitals. That was their gift to the community. People gave back to their community. You know, now you can't get a rich man to pay their fucking taxes, let alone pay for a school. You know?
And it was definitely pinpointed by COVID. You know?
I think it was before COVID. I really do think it started.
No, but it was amped up. Like
it was amped up by COVID when we were all home online.
People just did not give a fuck. Like stay-at-home orders to try and, you know. And it's not. We had this conversation back then as well. It's not just about you. It's about everyone that you come in contact with,
right?
And everyone that they come in contact with, because you might be fine and you might be okay,
but you might be healthy enough to survive it.
Yeah, you might be carrying it, but that doesn't mean you haven't killed somebody's grandmother or someone's immunosuppressed child or something like that. Like,
right, or somebody's asthmatic mother.
Yeah,
you know.
I think we've forgotten. It's been 5 years and we've already forgotten. Everyone's already gone, oh, well.
Yeah, well.
Wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad.
I lived.
Yeah. I mean, COVID, plug. QR codes, whatever. Don't worry about it. Mask mandates, where? I don't understand. It hurts my brain to think about it.
You can't make me wear a mask, but I can make you carry that baby to term, even if you're 10 years old.
Hey. Under his eye. That's all I have to say. It's okay. It's okay. All right, this is another feisty. It's a very feisty date. I'm getting hot. Getting hot and bothered. And it's not even time for Vera events. Now, Meghan Trainor, like her, love her, think that she's a hack, whatever, is now getting black for losing weight. So Meghan has been through a bit of a weight loss journey, as you can see in these pictures here. And people are criticizing her now going against her body positivity, you know, individuality kind of thing that was really the formation of her musical career. What do we think about this, ladies?
I think it's bullshit. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, body positivity goes both ways. They did this to Ricki Lake when she lost weight. They did this to Adele when she lost weight. Shut the fuck up. It's none of your business what somebody else weighs. Whether they're fat, whether they're thin, whether they're normal, it's not your fucking worry. Shut up.
Even to Lizzo. Like, why? Like, everyone's hating on Lizzo because she lost weight. Oh, she did this, she did that. Who gives a fuck how she did it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
If you're jealous, like, I feel like people are jealous. Like, because they lost weight, or like, oh, well, she didn't stay fat. Well, she's supposed to stay fat because her fans are fat? Like, I'm sorry, I'm so fucking confused. Like, but she only has fat fans? Like, is that what it is? Like,
this is her journey. She makes the choices.
Yeah. But that's what it's like implying, like, oh, well, you should have been body positivity. Okay, body positivity is making yourself feel better about yourself. And if she feels better about herself because she lost weight, then let her the fuck go. Like, and when she gains the weight back, everyone's going to be bitching and complaining. Like, she didn't take care of herself. Look at her. Like, shut up.
Oh, yeah, she's disgusting.
There's no winning.
No, exactly. It's like they put them in these boxes where, you know, Meghan Trainor's the fat funny girl and Lizzo's the fat sassy girl, and they can't don't be skinny and try and do the same thing because it's not okay. And they're worried more about the fact that they've lost weight as opposed to the reasons that they've chosen to do this. And
Right.
it
I don't
ties
think
in.
the reasons are up for debate either. I don't think that's your business.
It's no one's business.
Not
It's no
your
one's business.
fucking
But
business.
but wouldn't it be more, instead of going, oh, you've lost weight, you're a sellout, listen to what they're saying about why they're losing weight, why they're deciding to do this, because that's the more important message. It's not focusing on, oh, you used to be fat and now you're not fat. And how can you sing those songs when you're not fat anymore?
Yeah.
What? Okay, cool.
Isn't it just the one song that she has about
Oh no, she talks about being thick in a few songs.
Oh,
But
okay.
Megan has talked about, she said, after the birth of my first child, I realized I needed to look after myself more so that I can look after my child more. That's a legitimate reason. And even if it isn't, whose business is it? You know?
I don't care if she stands up and says, I was tired of being fat and I just wanted to look prettier. You know, if that's her reason, if she feels prettier at a different weight, then that's still not our business.
Right.
You know?
And it's funny though, because the venom is reserved for certain people and not others.
Right.
Like Kelly Clarkson is tiny now, but you don't hear people going, Kelly Clarkson, you're a sellout, you're America's da da da. However, Whoopi Goldberg,
right? Like, that's what I feel like with Kelly Clarkson. She was skinny on American Idol, and then she gained the weight. And one bitch to complain when she gained the weight, and then when she lost it, it's like, oh my god, look how much weight she lost! Like, oh my god, she looks great.
Kelly Clarkson also famously has talked about why she was so skinny, and that, you know, it was label mandated that she remained skinny and she had a certain image and da 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 da. And Kelly is rebellious, so she does what she wants, and, you know, bodies change as you age and you have children and all that kind of stuff, and she's found something that works for her that makes her feel healthier. And that's what the conversation she had with Whoopi Goldberg is that, you know, everyone's so obsessed with who's on Ozempic and why are they on Ozempic and how dare they be on Ozempic and they're rich and that's the only reason they can afford Ozempic. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's not you. It's not you.
Right.
If you're worried about it, then that's something you do. That's why I've chosen to do it, because you know what? Everything else I've tried in my 40-something years of life hasn't worked.
Yeah.
This is working. You know, it's working at a sense. And I'm not on a medication that's made me go from the size of a house to a stick. It's happening gradually, so that it can be, you know, attainable, and it can be something that hopefully sticks. And even if it doesn't, I've tried, because I've tried everything else and it hasn't worked. And people don't get that. People who have not had a struggle with any kind of weight problem, whether it be too much or not enough, because let's put that out there as well.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
They don't understand not only the pressure from everyone else, but the pressure that you put on yourself every day to go, why can't I do this? What's wrong with me that I can't do this? And we're finding out more and more that some bodies just can't do it.
Right. Well,
it's not things that you're doing solely, you know?
My weight has gone up and down my whole life, but I've always been considered plus size. But the scrutiny from people around you, you know, out on a date and have a date ask you if you should eat dessert, or out with your family and have your aunt say, well, Vera doesn't need dessert. Or, you know, having somebody say, really, you're ordering the pasta? You don't, the scrutiny that you're under, just walking through the school cafeteria as a senior in high school with a Jell-O with whipped cream thing on my plate. Look, see, dessert first. You know, they have a right to talk about what you're eating when you don't weigh what they think you should.
Right.
They wouldn't, you know, treat a diabetic like that.
Imagine how evil you would be here. Well, I don't talk about how ugly your child is, or the fact that your husband doesn't fuck you, or anything like that in front of everyone.
The fact that 99% of you are fucking stupider than me, and I can prove it with a test.
Like, people just think they can get away with it. Like, and it's not cool.
They really do, and they're cruel, and they're intrusive and
they're passive aggressive about
and
it.
they're
That's the best.
righteous.
The best
it's all
thing,
about
the
her
best
health.
thing is,
it's all about your health.
You're like, you're trying to say that I'm fat. You want to say that I'm fatter than the last time you saw me. Oh, you're looking healthy. It's like,
Let me tell you this.
You're looking fucking ugly. That hasn't changed.
I've outlived at least 3 people who told me that fat was unhealthy and I was going to die. 3 of them and counting.
Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing to yourself? What happened?
And you know what? What is
it's not your healthy?
And
what's going on?
If you are doing it to yourself, it's nobody's business.
Right. Yeah.
It's nobody's business.
You might be smoking. You might be drinking. You might be using heroin. Nobody's seeing all that as readily as they see my waistline.
You might be hooked on pain pills and nobody, Yeah. That's okay. But that's fine. That's okay. You might be a horrible parent, but we don't point that out in front of everyone else.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm all for, do what makes you happy as long as you're doing it in a healthy way. And yes, as Joe pointed out, there is not so much anymore, I don't think. There was a time when, because everyone had to have Ozempic, especially, that there was the shortages and la 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 la. It's a supply and demand business now, It's not the sole treatment for diabetes either.
Right.
It's a treatment for diabetes.
Well, actually, part of the problem with all these medical shortages is because the healthcare industries, particularly pharmaceutical industry, has become so globalized that 5 companies own all the means of production. So the only place that's making Ozempic may be an island in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Sri Lanka.
Are they using Signal? They'll get their recipes stolen.
The only people that are bottling methylphenidate for children with ADHD is in Puerto Rico. So if there's a tornado or a hurricane that blows through Puerto Rico, that company's offline for the entire world for 3 to 6 months. When COVID hit, many of these pharmaceutical companies went offline for 2 years. So their problem is the globalization. We do really need to consider decentralization of these pharmaceutical companies. And
all right, I have something for us in a second as well. Sorry, Mary, finish your thought.
Go ahead.
Christina, I know I've been threatening you with this for a while, but I found the article that I wanted to talk about ages ago that I said I wanted to get your opinion on. So now it's time for the view from here.
Since before Christmas.
It was very out there on Reddit. So this is from Reddit, and I'm just going to read it out, and I will wait for your reaction. It's about a 29-year-old mother. Okay, so she explained that her husband had chosen. This is all about naming a child. Okay, she explained that her husband had chosen to name their newborn son after her father, with the middle name paying homage to the husband's grandfather. The decision held deep sentimental value for the couple, particularly for the mother who had lost her father at the age of 14. Hold on to that. As the delivery day approached, the mother expressed a desire for a private birthing experience with only her husband present. However, her mother-in-law, known for her strong opinions, barged into the delivery room, offering unsolicited advice on the baby's name and other parenting matters. The day I was due, I only wanted my husband there, she said. He drove me to the hospital, and the mother-in-law walks in the rooms and starts babbling about the baby's name, feeding schedules, etc., and I kept it together as best I could. Post-birth, the mother-in-law persisted in trying to change the baby's name, going so far as to inquire with the hospital staff about the legality of doing so. Accusations were hurled suggesting that new mum was manipulating her husband into the chosen name. She was trying to talk my husband into convincing me to change the name. She asked the nurse if she could legally change the name, and if it even went as far as accusing me of controlling my husband. After reaching breaking point, the new mum demanded the mother-in-law to leave the room, declaring that the chosen name would remain unchanged. Am I the asshole? Is the question.
No.
No,
It's your kid.
absolutely not. I went to college with a kid whose grandmother hated his name so much, she stopped using it and called him David. And she would walk around saying, David, come here. And his name was Jim. He didn't know anybody named David, so he just kept walking.
Oh my God.
That's amazing. Something happens to parents when they become grandparents.
Well,
Something
I don't know.
shifts
I
in them.
don't think I'd
And
ever
it's
be
like,
that entitled.
No.
You know?
You know what happens?
That is a bridge too far.
If there's something other than them just being elated that they get to be there for their other kid and then relive the moment without the sleep deprivation and all that, then something's fucking wrong with them. Because no, you should not be feeling like that in any way, shape, or form. You have no control over that baby, not even a little bit.
None.
You can get the fuck out of the goddamn room. You can get the fuck away from the fucking hospital too, bitch. I don't. No.
Right?
Like, absolutely not. And how dare you inquire about trying to change his name? Are you fucking kidding me? Like when the baby is born, like that, the next day you're signing birth certificates and everything. Like
Right.
you're putting everything into this. Like they're doing everything either that night or the next day, depending on when you have that kid. And if that bitch was in the room asking questions, I'd be like, get security immediately. Get her the fuck away from me because I am going to murder her and you will have a bloodbath on your fucking hands. Like, no fucking way. And you ruin the peace of the mother after she just had the baby? Like, are you kidding me? But, oh my God, there's so many things wrong with this woman. She would never be around me ever again. If she was, I would have
And
to
she wouldn't see her grandchildren.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, there is pre-existing. This is such a weird hill to take a stand on. There's obviously pre-existing stuff going on between them, but again, it's none of your fucking business what these two people choose to name their child, and for you to overstep straight away, that's a perfect way of getting cut out of that kid's life.
Oh yeah.
Oh
You're just
yeah.
asking for it.
They don't have any right. You don't have any right to even actually be there when she specifically asked you not to be. You know, you don't know what kind of trauma and whatever is associated with this girl for childbirth. And she just felt comfortable with the partner there, and you're just there because you think it's your right, your God.
Yeah,
right.
it's the sense of entitlement.
Grandparent.
There is one thing I will say, and it's not in defense of this woman at all, but when my sister was naming her kid, even when I was naming my kid, my sister's first kid's name, so the first grandchild, my sister was dead set on naming Daisy. And we all said, well, Daisy is going to be dancing on a pole somewhere in a strip club. Like, Miss Daisy, like it wasn't what my sister had in mind. My sister said that she heard that name in a grocery store and she looked over and it was this little girl with blonde hair and curls and she was getting candy and she was just like the sweetest little thing. So she said, I love that name the second I heard it. And I said, well, the second I heard it, I thought of a whore dancing in a strip club. So, again, we didn't fall in love with it right away, but it is what it is. My daughter is named after my grandmother and then my husband's grandmother. So again, an homage to everything, just like this woman's kid. And then my son, my husband asked if we could name him after him. And he's like, can he be a Joseph? I said, yeah. I said, do you want it? I don't want him to be a junior, though.
Right.
Yeah,
My
that's
other
weird.
cousin was a Joe Jr. or wasn't a Joe Jr. and they still had issues. It was just too much, and I don't want to keep bringing the Joey name through. It's not necessary, because his father wasn't a Joseph anyway. I said, yeah. I said, but the middle name is going to be my father's name, but my father's name is Guy, so I just did like a version of it. And even when I told my father, I thought he was going to be so excited, right? Like, oh, my grandson is going to carry on my name, but it's like, it's not his name specifically. It's like a version of my father's name because he's not Gaetano. He's just Guy.
Mhm.
And my son's middle name is Gaetano. So I did this and he didn't really care. And then I got shit from my Uncle Jesse, who is old. He's like 75, 76, 77. He's pushing 80, right? Or I think he is 80. Actually, he is 80 because we had his 80th birthday, I think, last summer or 2 summers ago. And he looked at me, he goes, why do you people, again, he's an old Italian man. He never talks. He's a very quiet man. He's very calm,
Stoic.
old man. Exactly. He just stands in the corner and he'll just listen. He'll talk when he wants to, but he doesn't get in trouble. He doesn't argue with anybody. And when I explained to him all the names that I wanted to name my son before we came up with Joseph, because I said I want to name him Gaetano, I want to name him Salvatore, I wanted all these Italian names, right? And my Uncle Jesse looks up from the table and he goes, why do all these people want to name these new kids these old world names? He goes, I don't understand. We came here, my parents came here, and he's not even my direct uncle, he's my aunt's husband. Anyway, he goes, my family came here to get away from that, to become American. He goes, and now you guys, all you new people, want to go back to that. He goes, want to go back to that and give these kids these Italian names that, they don't know, and they're never going to know who these people were, like it was just like Luciano, all these names that I was coming up with. Like I had a list, and he was just like, no. And then when I came up with just Joseph Gaetano, I was like, I hope Uncle Jesse isn't mad at me that I named it. Like it's always been in the back of my head.
Don't tell him.
He was just so.
You said Joseph. You didn't say Giuseppe.
No, I did not call him Giuseppe. No, I wrote that on my list too.
Yeah.
I had Matteo. I had so many beautiful names.
I love the name Matteo.
I know, I love it too. I love a little Maddie. I don't know why. I just like a little Maddie, or just.
Well, my nephew's Matthias, but Dia said, if you call my son Matt, I'll kill you.
See?
Yep.
It's just little things. But
so I think we can all just agree that this mother-in-law is fucking crazy. And
fucking crazy.
Just
yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know. Question mark. Where
That's
people get off. It's not if you didn't birth that baby, you got no stake in
No
it.
say.
Like, just step away. Step away.
Oh, get the fuck out.
We've all gotten pretty heated, but now it's time for the professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Vera Events. Okay. Oh, she's got a bit of paper.
I got a sheet of paper.
Oh shit.
It's not math. There's no math on today's paper. I always get she's mathing again. Today, I didn't know what I was going to talk about this morning because, just another week in Trumplandia, all the fun keeps happening. But I turned on the news like I do every morning while I'm getting ready for work and scrolled through Facebook, and a whole bunch of things caught my eye. First and foremost, today is Matt's birthday. Now, nobody knows who Matt is. Matt is this guy I went to school with. I've known him for, 50 plus years. We hung out together for years. I know who his I was at his wedding. He would have been at mine if I had one. I've known Matt for a long time. He is a Trumper and I am not. And every single day, if I post something progressive or resistance oriented on my Facebook page, Matt's the first one there to tell me I'm wrong and to tell me why. Well, today is Matt's birthday. And when I woke up, there he was on my last night's post saying something stupid about Biden. And I just wrote back, "Happy birthday, Matt, you Kool-Aid sucking Nazi apologist." And Matt wrote back, "Love you too, V." And I thought that was wonderful. I thought even as vehemently and as strongly as Matt and I disagree, 50 years of friendship is still important. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. But I did want to talk about, and I almost started talking about it earlier, is the number of people that are just getting taken off the streets. ICE and Homeland Security are just walking up to people, putting them in handcuffs and saying, "Are you so-and-so?" And they'll say, "Yes, you're under arrest." And these people are under arrest for charges against free speech. Most of them are legal residents. They're not all legal citizens, but they are legal residents here with green cards, here for years, gainfully employed, paying taxes, going to school, contributing to our country, and they are being arrested. And just like the Americans coming back from international travel who are having their phones seized at the border to see if they're criticizing the president, these people are being arrested for writing an op-ed to their school newspaper that said America should divest in Israel because of the deaths in Palestine. One person was arrested for having a gang tattoo. The gang tattoo turned out to be an autism awareness tattoo with his brother's name. Another person was arrested for a gang tattoo that turned out to be a picture of a hummingbird on his neck. These people are just being taken off the streets. They're not given due process. Several of them have been transported to a gulag in El Salvador because they were accused of being part of this Thera Cuatro gang. I don't know what the real name is. That's pretty close to that, but that's not it. And they're not being given due process. This is in direct violation of the rule of law that this country has had in place since its founding. When we broke away from the British Commonwealth, Donald, and incited our own Constitution. Even visitors here are entitled to due process. This is abduction. And these people are going to gulags where they are not giving trials. They're not giving a hope of parole. And their families don't know where they are. And they only are recognizing them because of these gangland tattoos. This is beyond ridiculous. Another story that caught my eye this morning while I was getting ready for work and making fun of Matt was that Florida is changing their child labor laws. They have a critical mass labor shortage because Black and brown people are not going to Florida to pick their crops like they usually do. So they're changing their child labor laws so that children as young as 14 can work overnight in the field, even on school nights. And they're eliminating mandatory meal breaks for children. And they're eliminating mandatory minimum work hours for children. So they're making it so young children, as young as 14 years old, can go into the fields, work unlimited hours for unspecified pay, because Florida's at will or will to work, right to work state. So they're, where the hell are we going with this, America? Is this the America you want to live in, where 14-year-old children are forced to drop out of school and go work in the fields overnight? Are we really here? And one last thing that I want to bring up is the EU today, European Union, issued an advisory to all EU citizens. to start stockpiling food, to be sure that you have 7 days worth of food for every member of your family and enough water to see you through for at least a week, because they are anticipating World War III. Nobody's talking about it on our news, but it's on their news. Is there something we need to know, Donald? What the hell's going on here? Certainly not coming up. But the good things we need to concentrate on is that every single day in this country, people continue to protest. Every single day, people are in the streets. The courts continue to rule against this administration and their lawlessness. And Greenland said one of the most brilliant fuck yous to Donald Trump that I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump was sending Busha Vance on a goodwill mission to Greenland. She and her son were going, and the Greenlandian people were so pissed they didn't want them there that they decided that they were going to send J.D. Vance too. And Donald Trump said before they left country that it was imperative that we take over Greenland for the health and vitality of this nation. One way or another, we were going to take over Greenland. So when J.D. Vance and his family got to Greenland, they were only allowed in the army base. They could not leave the army base. It was still considered American territory, but they were not allowed to set foot in Greenland. And the last piece of really good news is that so many people are upset with Signalgate that even Republicans are standing up against it. So there is hope, but there's a lot of shit to be worried about, kids.
Controversial opinion. There are some 14-year-olds that I think should be working in fields overnight.
What? I don't think any 14-year-old should be taken out of school. Every child should be given the right to be educated.
That's the point. Some of them don't go to school. They're just hanging around shopping centers all day, stealing stuff and assaulting people.
Well, they're the ones that should be in the field. It's still illegal in most of the states in this country. To not send your 14-year-old to school.
Retail PTSD issues. That's all good. We have survived another week full of no malfunctioning ring lights this week for Christina. So
yes, Christina's light stayed in place all evening.
I am I'm in 2025 now with this fucking ring light. It's actually so fucking tall that it really is now.
That's okay.
Mine didn't go out once.
My internet connection's been dodgy today, so there's always something. But that's why we keep it real. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you again next week. Apologies for the delay on the Uncensored Horror episode, but it will be coming to you this Tuesday, and much more to come down the pipe. Keep vigilant, keep out there, keep your nose out of people's weight loss, and
their business.
And their business.
Their business.
Yeah.
It's not your business who they sleep with. It's not your business what color underwear they wear. Just keep your nose clean.
Or if they wear any.
Yeah, exactly. Mind your own business.
Bye, folks.